Are you going to be willing to make the sacrifice in order to get the reward down the line? And I think we should be always looking for more opportunities to do that. Giving yourself an opportunity to win a little bit so you can win big down the line. Giving yourself attainable and achievable goals that will give you motivation as you hit them to set bigger and better goals for the future.
Basically relishing your individuality, right?
You have to.
How important is that to you for you to get to where you're going?
I think like I said, as time has gone on, I've got better at using it. I've got better at using my individuality, and I've gotten more comfortable with what that can mean. Even just going back to like talking about looks and being handsome and stuff, it's not even that, but I've gotten some good advice recently to start sharing more of that kind of thing, just because that's also a part of who I am as a person. Like, and I don't have to feel bad about that. It is who I am. It is what it is. And so for me, I think it's just about like being able to share more parts and be more authentic for the same reason that my artist name is my name. It's just about continuously bringing more aspects of authenticity to the table for people to see. And that's what, for me, being an artist is all about. It's about sharing little aspects of my life that I feel like can be relevant to someone else.
So we can switch to the offshore account real quick. Cool Breeze.
Yeah.
Her name is Dynasty?
Yes, Dynasty Williams.
Okay, I got it wrong.
Amazing recording artist in Toronto.
Her voice is just impeccable, bro.
Yeah, she's amazing.
The skill I display these days is a testament to effort and the ode of making one talent into two. You wouldn't believe all the setbacks that I've sat through. But if you must wait, make it great.
Yeah.
So just tell us about 2 setbacks you had to sit through.
I remember when I was first applying to become poet resident at the Toronto Public Library. My initial application was completely denied because I think there was only a specific amount of spaces and my qualifications had not met the PA requirements or whatever. And so, they were gracious in their decline, but I took it very, very harsh because first of all, I thought I had that. I thought I had that in the bag. So I was already like, yo, it's about to be a good little
active.
You know what I'm saying? So then I was like, damn, that's an L. That's an L. Like, I hold that. But at the same time, it taught me a lot. And the next year I applied again and was successful. And I was successful because I took the year to increase my CV and to do things and to put myself further out there and show that I was worth being brought in. And another one, actually, in the same vein, I applied for a big grant, like City of Toronto. Sorry, it was actually Ontario Arts. So like the way that granting in the city is set up, there's micro granting, which is like anything under like 1,000 basically. And then 1,000 to like 10,000 is where most grants fall, especially if it's granting from within the city.
Yeah.
And then the city itself has grants that are available from like 10K to like 20K, for example. And that is for like projects that are run for multiple weeks and workshops and stuff like that. And you show and you provide a plan and a budget and everything. You go through the whole process. And then there's Ontario grants, which is like Ontario is the province or the state, otherwise for Americans, where Toronto is in. So Toronto is the city and then Ontario is the state or province.
Okay.
Right? And so those grants on a provincial level and the ones also on a federal level, which is countrywide, could be anywhere from 20, 50, multiple year grants that could be spanning tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so for those grants, you kind of have to be a business or like an NGO, which is a non-governmental organization, or not-for-profit. I am none of those currently, but I still wanted to apply because I believed in my idea and I knew that I could do it, but I didn't have the proof at the time, right? So when they declined, I said, could you like give me some more feedback on why I was unsuccessful in my application? And basically they were saying like, yeah, like the proposal you gave us is amazing, but we have doubts as to your like capacity to fulfill the grant, basically, right? And that was just another moment where I was like, word, that's a setback. That's a reality that I had to live in for a bit, because at the end of the day, I'm not a business. I'm not a not-for-profit organization by myself. I may be in the future. There's ways in which you can do stuff like that in terms of incorporating or whatever the case may be for yourself, but there is a limit to how much you can do just by yourself in terms of that field, specifically with granting. I feel like I'm at that point where I'm like always like pushing up against that and what that can look like. But again, I would never let a setback hold me down for too long. I'm forward. I'm finding another plan. I'm finding another avenue. If you block this one, I'm going down this road. I'm going to reach my destination regardless. Yeah. So that's how I view it.
That's the resiliency, man.
Yeah.
I feel like resilience is extremely important, but I think a lot of the times we don't necessarily look at the positive part of resiliency, right? Because if you don't get challenged, you can't demonstrate demonstrate resilience, right?
Right.
Like if you don't go to the gym, you can't build your muscles. It's the
Right.
same concept. So
And the risk of that is pain and discomfort
Yes.
and effort that you have to put in and discipline to go to the gym in the first place. But then the reward is where you wanted in the first place. And it's like, for you, are you going to be willing to do that? Are you going to be willing to make the sacrifice in order to get the reward down the line? And I think we should be always looking for more opportunities to do that.
one challenging thing to that, just playing devil's advocate for a little bit, right? So I would say you have proof of concept now for a lot of the things that you thought about, right?
Yeah.
For somebody that doesn't have proof of concept, I talk about this thing called learned helplessness, where you've been stuck in such a rut for so long that you think you can't change the situation and everything's out of your control. So what information would you provide to that person with that sort of thinking to essentially emancipate themselves from that situation?
Small wins.
Underrated.
Small wins.
Very underrated.
Small wins. Small wins is so underrated, but you said it absolutely correct. Like giving yourself an opportunity to win a little bit so you can win big down the line. Giving yourself attainable and achievable goals that will give you motivation as you hit them to set bigger and better goals for the future. That is what people tend to not do. They want to reach the finish line before they start the race. And they're not taking... right? Right.
That's me.
That's true. But that's why I'm here. Not slow you down, but to give you goals in between. To give you the goals in between. Because you're going to get there. I have no doubt. But it's the goals in between that really like make the difference. And I think, that 10 meter mark, that 20 meter mark, that 50 meter mark, those are the ones that you want to hit before you even reach 100 meters. Because you got to hit those before you reach there, right? One thing my father told me from a very early age, I remember wanting to go back to school late for lunch because I was watching cricket. And I would say, yo, Pops, give me 5 minutes. Yeah, school, me missing nothing in school, nothing going on. The bell just ring. We go up the road a little bit. It's okay. And he used to say, watch here, them dear done make the millions. You ain't make none yet. Go school. And he was right. Like I didn't want to take the steps in between. I was just like, yo, cricketer, that's what I gonna be. And it's like, nah, like in addition to sports, you also have to have a good foundation. You have as much as possible educate yourself. Even if it's not in an academic setting, educate yourself in general, right? There's so many tools and different ways of alternative learning these days that your school is not your jam, then find what is. And give yourself a lot of opportunities to succeed in life, because I never thought when I was 12 years old that I was going to be a professional artist. I didn't even know. I thought initially that I was going to do art, but also have a job as a psychologist. And those things would be a thing. But then I stopped. I didn't enjoy psychology in university. And I was like, this is not actually what I want to do. What I want to do is become a full-time artist and pursue that. And so that's why I had to shift. But if I didn't have steps in place in between there, I would have been faltering. And I was until I made those changes.
Okay. So I just got a few just random questions. Hobbies. You spoke about cricket. How'd you get into cricket?
My dad is a huge cricket fan, and he enrolled me in the Keith Atherton Cricket Center when I was 8 years old. Shout out to Keith Atherton, former West Indies player and my former coach. I mean, I fell in love. I was always very athletic as a kid. I used to run and, like I said, play cricket and stuff. And so that was just like a natural outlet of expression. Now I don't play cricket in Toronto. I used to when I first came to Toronto, but the setup was not ideal. Let's just say that. But now I have so many other hobbies. I play golf as a athletic thing, but I also go to the gym regularly, work out regularly. I also am very interested in cooking. I'm very interested in playing chess. I have many different interests that are outside of just being an artist.
Dream car. If you're into cars like that.
I'm not a super big car person in general, but one car that I think would be cool, apart from like a sports car, of course, because I feel like that's like an easy answer. The G-Class Mercedes, the SUV one.
The G-Wagon?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That joint right there.
Oh my
that's a tough one.
Yo,
I ain't gonna even hold you.
Yo,
that's a tough one.
I see two of them on the island.
Oh, for real?
A black one and a gray one.
Yeah.
They're different.
Yeah, but the toughest car flex that I ever seen was I used to go to school with this young lady in university, and her family was very affluent, and one time they picked her up in 4 BMW M6s. All black, windows tinted.
Wait, in 4?
4. She went in the middle one. There was one in front, the second one her, and the last one.
She got X6 convoy, is what you're saying?
M6 convo, yeah, X6 convo.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was one of the most incredible car flexes that I've ever seen, and that's what made me realize that like you can have any car, but at the same time, like there can always be some other car that you just be like, damn, I ain't got that car. That's why I feel like right now I'm at a point in my life where I'm spending more money on experiential things more than like material things, because making memories is a very fun pastime of mine. That's one of my other hobbies, making memories.
I had a quote recently that said something to the effect, if you understood we were essentially just here to collect memories, you would swing for the fences.
Bro, that's such a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that one. I teeth in that one. Teeth in that one. I going with that one for my next track.
I'll be stealing your shit all the time.
No, good. It's free use, as they would say. But yeah, I love that because it's so true. You know, like you never know when it's time. And so I ain't gonna waste time by getting too caught up in the day-to-day drudgery of things. I try my best to stay very 30,000 feet. That's why, as I'm sure you realize, like I try my best not to let much things get to me. I have a pretty cool homeostasis in terms of just my general demeanor, because I'm operating from a place of thankfulness, and B, I realize that life is too short to get worried about the trivial things that we all concern ourselves with on a day-to-day basis. So I really try my best to just stay focused on the big picture and apply the everyday goals in between.
If you could live anywhere else in the world, where would it be?
As in not St. Kitts and not Toronto?
Yeah, I feel like St. Kitts is like, that's a cheat code.
Yeah, that's like obvious, right? If I could live anywhere else, I would like to live multiple places for 3 to 6 months periods. I would like to live in Korea for 3 months.
Korea?
Yeah, Korea is cool, bro.
Okay, I don't know that.
They're on a wave over there, bro.
I don't know that.
They're on a wave. They got swag. They got mad swag. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, bro. Plus, like, Korean culture in general is interesting to me. Japan for 3 months would be cool.
Japan is clean.
Japan is like pristine. Just the people, the culture, the food. Paris for 3 months would be dope. Food, French food, views, culture, history. Amsterdam. Probably wouldn't want to stay too long in Amsterdam and just get lost in the sauce. maybe like a 2 weeks or 3 weeks would be good. I don't even want to live in Toronto for as long as I do. Why would I want to live in any other place for as long as I am? I wish I could spend 6 months in Toronto, maybe 6 to 8 months. Right now I'm spending like 10 months, which is too many. And like obviously, like we said, St. Kitts is good, so you always want to come home. But like there's also so many other places that I like to see and visit and experience. Like I told you, experiences are one of my favorite hobbies.
So top 2 places you'd like to visit, like all expenses paid? Like,
yeah.
Top 2 places.
South Africa, or like a place in the southern part of Africa, sub-Saharan, and then one more, let's just say Brussels. Yeah, just because like I've never been to that part of the world. They have their own unique way of doing things. And I just mentioned Japan and Korea, so I didn't want to just go there again. Although those are places that I would like to visit as well. In terms of if I had to say a top 2, probably Japan would be in that. I actually had tickets to Japan before Corona.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and obviously they got canceled.
Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously. Everything got canceled. You know what I'm saying? So they refunded me and I just used them to fly home.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah. But I still have it on the list of places I'd love to travel to.
Okay, perfect. So last thing before we go out of here, right? Anything of inspiration you'd like to recommend, whether it's a book, it's a movie, it's something that was powerful to you?
NPR podcast, Better Daily. Good podcast. You know, self-help in terms of whether it be podcasts or videos. Malcolm Gladwell does a lot of really good. Amazing space in that work.
You ever read Outliers before?
Yes, great book. That's actually a book I could recommend as well. I am personally not reading a bunch of self-help right now because I'm trying to like develop of my my life in general.
Yeah.
But I would start there and go from there. Also Vsauce, which is like more like scientific information, I really like, but they also go like from the personal aspect of things. That's a YouTube channel. Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast is a great podcast, not just for science but for life in general.
Okay.
Yeah. For me personally, like the idea of self-help or improvement or whatever the case may be is a personal journey for everybody. You may be missing certain aspects of your life that can't be helped by Malcolm Gladwell. Like you might got some issues that, you know, one specific self-help individual can't necessarily speak to. And so the idea of self-awareness and self-actualization is actually equally about finding those things that are flaws for you and improving upon them, whether it be increasing empathy or increasing thankfulness and gratitude, or increasing your capacity to output work, or increase your capacity to imagine, whatever the case may be, right? These are all aspects, but if you don't have self-awareness, you're not even going to know where to begin. And so that's why I always encourage people to develop a sense of self and understand where your place is in the community that you exist in, what you mean to others, and what you can bring to the table whenever you meet someone new, whether it be a perspective or something that you've experienced that you feel like would be of value to them. That is how you truly become a more self-aware and self-actualized individual.
Anything else you'd like to say to the people?
Thank you for having me. This has been a wonderful experience. It's always great to talk to you, but like in a podcast setting and really just like document the gems is a great feeling. And so thank you for having me on. It's been a wonderful conversation I thoroughly enjoyed, and I look forward to continuing our mindful collaboration of everything that we embark upon.
Man, the pleasure is definitely mine. Like I tell you, anytime I'm doing anything, to have you involved in the early stages is always an impeccable idea, man. You know
Appreciate it.
And you bring a lot of great perspective because I have access to you all the time.
Yeah.
So like I know the type of perspective and the springboard that you have for me and many other people as well. So I think it was super important to get you on the platform to create this space so the conversations that we do have, other people can also benefit from us helping each other, because that's the idea. Like
exactly,
each one teach one, and we just continue building and building and building.
Precisely.
So we're now at the end of the episode, man. Thanks for tuning in for the Renaissance Reflections Conversations with Judas. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Until next time, continue elevating. We're out of here.
Peace.
Millionaires, Juda states, tax-free savings, IRAs. On paper, a simple wage, but they got business and business pays. And global wage sits at $1. You avoid jail if the crime is white collar. You avoid jail if the crime is white collar. Pity that I can't